Let's speak to another Manchester United fan to see if they're happy with the result today. Carl, good evening, Carl.
Good evening, how's it going?
Well, do you like the fact that Alan Pardew would be called Pards the Punisher as a darts player? I think it's fantastic.
No, don't set him up. Carl, just let it go, Carl. Let it go.
I mean, it works.
It does. It does. Do you feel that Manchester United punished Liverpool today?
Well, I think it's obviously, if you said at the beginning of the game we'd get a draw, I think there isn't many United fans that would turn that down.
Absolutely.
I think the thing with it is it's the performance that come with it. So if you look back, years ago, United would never go to Anfield and stick 10 men behind the ball.
Low block United at Anfield, no, never.
I know. So obviously for me, a United team needs to be sort of playing on the front foot and going after them. I think obviously the way United are at the minute, you've got to look back to last season. Obviously we finished third last year. So for me at the beginning of this year, I thought we'd be looking to build and, maybe mount a half credible sort of challenge. I think obviously injuries haven't gone our way, but I think we've obviously dropped off quite a bit. But I do think that we're panicking a little too early with potentially getting rid of Ten Hag and all the talk that surrounds it.
It's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction we have as fans, though, in this day and age, isn't it, really? Because, as you say, currently you're 7th in the league. You are, 6 points off of the top 4? It's not that bad, is it?
It's not too bad, no. Don't get me wrong, we should be much closer into the mix. But I think, the talk around sort of in the media and the newspapers this week is obviously Ten Hag's at risk and, the amount of money, you hear like teams talking about, signing Harry Kane, Declan Rice, those sorts of players. Realistically, were any of those going to go to United? I don't think so. So I think that you look at the money that's been spent up until now, and my view is we need to be getting the best out of what we've spent already. So you can look at changing the manager, you can look at throwing more players and more money into it, but it's about knuckling down and sort of thinking about how we're going to play and the kind of club we want to be.
Quickly, Carl, when everyone talks about Manchester United being unfortunate with injuries, who for your starting 11 do you feel is a big miss?
Well, I think that you look at Casemiro, what he did last year. Granted, this year he hasn't started to the same heights he reached last year. Martinez is obviously a big difference as well. Yeah. But I think you get those players back, they just give you that composure. They just give you that calm that sort of allows you to build moving forward. And I think you look at players like, one of the big conversations I've been having this week is surrounding sort of Antony. Now, I think if you were to take Antony and put him in a conventional 4-4-2 and ask him to run at a fullback, I think you've got half a decent player on your hands. But I think with Antony at the moment, he's getting the ball out wide, cutting inside, playing a pass in, and then we're losing possession. And it's sort of constantly stuck in that cycle. But I think once you've got a player like Casemiro, when you've got a player like Martinez in the team, it just calms everyone down a little bit because you've got that sort of structure to sort of build attacks.
No, I think that makes a little bit of sense.
Absolutely.
I mean, but the problem with Antony, he's heavily left-footed. He can't play on the left side because he doesn't really like to go down that side, put crosses in it. It's not Man United style anyway. So he plays on the opposite side. But he's made hardly any assists, no goals. There's the stats, the numbers just don't add up for this kid. Do you know what I mean? At this level. And when he was at Ajax, he was a threat. And they dominated games and he was constantly getting the ball, constantly causing problems. But I've not seen enough from him at all to warrant being in the first team, in my opinion. 38
appearances in the Premier League for Manchester United, 4 goals, 2 assists.
That's what I'm saying.
80 million plus, wasn't he?
Yeah, listen, if you're going in as Man United, so they take me as technical director tomorrow, Man United, right? I'm going to look at the stats of the players that have been performing. That's the first thing I'm going to look at. I'm not going to look at the personalities or the hearsay around, he's not a great lad, he doesn't come in training, doesn't mix well. I'm not listening to any of that. I'm just looking at the numbers to start with. And that's where Ratcliffe and his team, Brownsford in particular, are going to look. They're going to look at the numbers and they're going to say, this guy isn't doing it. And let's find a solution for that.
Can I give you a stat comparison?
Go on.
You're going to like this. Destiny Udogie, Spurs' left-back, who cost £16 million, who for me is one of the best left-backs in the league right now. He's played 15 Premier League games. He has the same assists as Antony. and he's only scored 3 goals less, and he's a defender in 15 games.
Well, I mean, I know you've thrown up a Spurs player, Madge. That would be predictable from you. but you could.
No, I'm just talking about money.
No.
16 million versus 80 million. That's recruitment problems.
But you've also got what Carl was talking about. Was Carl? Was it?
Yeah.
He said we finished third and we were looking to kick on, right? So their signings this year have actually taken backwards in a way. Right, they've signed that young boy up top of the pitch who's nowhere near ready to wear the number 9 shirt for Man United. He's a great young talent, he really is, but he shouldn't be, in my view, trying to carry the flag for Man United right, Hoyland.
It's not fair on him, is it?
No, it isn't, and that's why I think that's why they haven't pushed on, because the signings in the summer they weren't good enough for Man United at this moment. It's no good looking 2 or 3 years down the line. This is Man United. You need to deliver now, today. That's how it works at Man United. That's when tell me, trust me, when Jim Ratcliffe goes in there with Brailsford, they're looking at numbers. And they're gonna be shifting, if they can, some of those numbers away. And one of the big issues, which was mentioned in the broadsheets today, is how are they going to shift some of these salaries? So they're going to have to make financial deals, to actually pay players to move on.
Wow.
That's how it's going to manifest at Man United.